Our salutatorian, Anika Banerjee, will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, after which Zach Souther will deliver the invocation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please bow your heads for our prayer. Dear Lord, thank you for allowing us to be gathered here today. I pray for your wisdom and guidance to fall onto all of these seniors, that you will bring a calming peace in our moments of doubt. You know the long journey that lies ahead of us, and though we may lose our way, we will find trust in you. Lord, allow us to find comfort in our moments of stress and remind us of those who care for us and those who need to be cared for. Give us pure hearts and strong minds so that we may follow the plan that you have set out for us. Give us safe travels through testing waters and the moral compass to find our way when we are lost. Lord, I pray as this chapter closes and a new one begins, you give us a broadened perspective to see the truth. In your name we pray, amen.
You may be seated. Good evening. I extend to you a warm welcome to Carlisle's 49th commencement. We are pleased that you are here to join us. Just a few announcements before we begin. Would you please turn off your cell phones or turn them to silent mode? We understand that this is just a great occasion and you would want to get photos of your graduate. But we have a photographer capturing these moments and our owls must be kept free. We ask that you respect the formality of this occasion and wait until the end of the ceremony to express your excitement. Loud outbursts actually take away from the nature of this event. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank certain groups and individuals who have been instrumental in making today and this year successful. The faculty and administration, they have worked tirelessly to provide the best education in this region for your child. Our Board of Trustees. Carlisle's board is led by President Jennifer Thomas and is composed of individuals who care greatly about the students and about Carlisle School. Thanks to all of our volunteers who helped this year with the auction and the many acts of hospitality that enrich our school. And most important, a heartfelt gratitude for all of our parents and guardians. We are so happy that you chose Carlisle School, and thanks for all that you have done for us. Please remember to follow the directions in your program regarding our recessional at the end of the ceremony. Last night, we had the award ceremony for our seniors. And Anika Banerjee addressed her classmates, and in a portion of her speech, she alluded to challenging situations that they had to face. She talked about the impact of the pandemic and how, despite those tough times, they fought through. They had help, they had support, and they persevered. She emphasized, though, that their high school experience was defined by each other and not by the pandemic. Graduates, there will be thunderstorms in your lives, but you have proven that you can weather storms. The struggles along the way are only meant to shape you for your purpose. Each one of you has a purpose. It is the reason that you exist. As I listened to your senior projects, I was struck by your maturity, your open-mindedness, by the confidence that you have, by your acknowledgement and acceptance of the fact that you have choices, that you know that you can actually weigh your options, that you can, as Henry David Thoreau suggests, go confidently in the direction of your dreams and live that life that you have imagined, for you only have one. We here at Carlisle kind of suspect that you will be spreading a little glitter along the way. So do not think that this is the end. It's just the beginning. Franklin D. Roosevelt said, "We may not be able to prepare the future for our children, but we can at least prepare our children for the future." Class of 2022, you are in the starting gate of the race of your life. Remember that the race is not over until the end. Rich Strike was an 80-1 long shot in the Kentucky Derby. In fact, that was a race he was not even scheduled to run. So you need to be prepared in case you are that late entry. Now it gives me great pleasure to introduce our class of 2022 valedictorian, who will deliver her address, Allie Craddock.
Well, before I start gushing about my classmates, I'm going to have to drag you back in time. Imagine, I'm sitting in my 9th grade English class. I still have braces on. My acne is slightly worse than it is now. My friends are debating who will be valedictorian and salutatorian for our class. They may or may not have a betting pool, but money is imaginary because we're 14 and we're broke. One of my friends, who may or may not be Jameson Smith, grabs me by my shoulders and shakes me and laughs at me. "You're going to be valedictorian," he says, "and you're going to have to give a speech." And I reply, heck no, absolutely not. I will fail my exams on purpose to drop my GPA. There's no way I'm going to give a speech on graduation day. And I said that with full confidence in my chest. Well, you see how well that turned out. I did not, in fact, fail my exams. Somewhere along the way, I realized that the speech I'm giving today, right now, isn't just a speech. It's a send-off. It's my chance to give a final round of encouragement to the peers who mean so much to me. I can recognize now that it's a privilege. I guess we call that character growth. Speaking of character growth, I'd like to emphasize how far I have watched my class come. I transferred to Carlisle when I was 12. Before I came to Carlisle, being a military baby, I transferred schools and states every 2 years. Everywhere I went taught me something new. For one, humid areas suck the life out of you. If you ask me about the peers I remembered in my old school systems, I'd be able to tell you about Hunter, the boy so country he spent more money on his steel-toe boots than any of his lunches. I'd tell you about Joshua, the boy who always stole my lemon drop candy, or Zoe, the other blonde-haired, blue-eyed girl in my class who had a habit of dragging me into trouble. But if you asked me about my peers at Carlisle, I could tell you so much more. I could tell you that Anika likes her naps during her 7th period study hall because she's always a week ahead in her classes. How? I don't know. It's a mystery I'm still trying to figure out. My bet is time travel. I could tell you that Casey and Jacob have a father-son dynamic. Who the father and son are changes on the daily basis depending on who needs the guidance. I could tell you that kind-hearted Jameson is a heathen whose copy preferences are freakish. Yeah, you. I could tell you that Souther's fixation of the week, or month, sometimes became philosophical nightmares for our etymology class, the study of words. And boy, did I look forward to that class. I I could tell you that Chandler is always on time, and he's one of the kindest guys I know. Still, I'm not sure whether he's going to college to study or become a professional Roblox player. I could tell you that if the opportunity arises to eat or sleep, Colin and Colby will take it in a heartbeat. And I can bet they're wondering how much longer I'm going to be talking for. I could tell you that Naomi has forcefully wormed her way into Mrs. Richardson's heart, because imagine for a moment an alternate reality where Mrs. Richardson has a chief piece. Impossible, improbable, not Naomi's prerogative. I could tell you that Mr. Morrison would like to burn Samantha to the ground, and introducing him to the game was probably not my smartest decision. To the other half of my class, who Anika mentioned in her salutatorian speech, know that I'm trying not to make sure no one falls asleep on me. Cunninghams, I'm looking at you. But you also have stolen a piece of my heart as well. Consider this simply saving you the incredulous embarrassment of having me individually call you out. The people at Carlisle have become a second family to me. I understand. Don't interrupt me. I understand to people who have been here forever, or perhaps not long enough, that the idea is cliche or foreign. But before Carlisle, I never had the opportunity to know someone my age with the intention of a feeble forever attached. I have watched my friends grow into their own budding futures. We have persisted through change, through unexpected trials, through COVID, through growing up and becoming adults. And maybe we didn't always make it to the other side when we leaped, but Carlisle dragged us, willingly or otherwise, to the finish line. It forced us to keep going throughout it all, to not give up, to dig deep, even when sometimes we tried to drag Carlisle back. Sometimes we gave up. Sometimes we complained and we whined and we made a fool of ourselves. Sometimes we were really, really annoying. I'm sorry, Mrs. Gamins, about the glitter that's here. But you know what? We did it. In some ways, we're not so different from the versions of ourselves we were back in 9th grade, in that English class where the warm morning light streamed across the bricks we painted in Mrs. Aaron's room, thinking about what we'd put in our senior bricks. The same senior bricks I had to finish painting this morning, approximately 3 hours ago. In some ways, we're not so different from the versions of ourselves who theorized who would still be nerds, try-harding their way into giving the valedictorian speech. In some ways, we are entirely different people. I'm so glad I got to grow up with you. Mrs. Agnew, Mrs. Gammons, my teachers, my classmates, my advisors, my parents, my sister, and my little brother, who is graduating with me today, who is definitely, positively, assuredly, not a foot taller than me. It's 10 inches, not 12 inches, it doesn't count. You will always have a place in my memory. And to the class of 2022, I say, no matter what happens, even if the whirlwind of college and careers and friends and family and hurdles and trials and failure and unfairness and possibility throw you into the unknown, wherever your feet end up landing, keep digging deep. Keep growing. Thank you.
Thank you, Allie, for those very insightful remarks. Our commencement speaker is Charles H. Majors. Charlie Majors is chairman of the board of American National Bank and Trust Company and its holding company, American National Bankshares Incorporated. He previously served as president, chief executive officer, and executive chairman. Prior to becoming president of the bank, Mr. Majors was the senior partner of Clement Wheatley, a law firm in Danville, specializing in banking, business, and commercial real estate law. He is a graduate of Auburn University and the University of Virginia Law School. In 2002, he was awarded an honorary Doctor of Humanities degree from Averett University. Mr. Majors served as the 2012 chairman of the Community Depository Institutions Advisory Council for the Federal Reserve Board of Governors. He is a past chairman of the Virginia Bankers Association and the Virginia Economic Development Partnership. Mr. Majors has previously served as chairman of the Danville School Board, Averett University, Danville Regional Foundation, and the Go Virginia Region 3 Council, and the chairman of Future of the Piedmont Foundation Board. He is a current board member of the Institute for Advanced Learning and Research, Mid-Atlantic Broadband Communities Corporation, and the Sorensen Institute for Political Leadership. I present to you Mr. Charlie Majors.
Thank you, Gracie. I really enjoy attending these types of events involving young people because it gives me such great confidence in the future. Now, Allie, great speech. And I'm glad you were the valedictorian. You did a great job. And I know you will be very, very successful. I'm honored to have been asked to participate in these commencement exercises. You know, they're sometimes called graduation ceremonies. Commencement, graduation, those terms are sometimes used interchangeably. Graduation is the receiving or conferring of an academic degree or a diploma. You're going to get a diploma today. Commencement, however, is the beginning or the start. At this ceremony, we are recognizing your completion of your work here at Carlisle, your graduation from Carlisle, but we're also recognizing that having completed your work here, you are beginning a new phase of your life, post-secondary studies that will prepare you for work and your adult life. I congratulate all of you on your accomplishments to date and celebrate with you both your graduation from Carlisle and your commencement for further studies in adult life. Now, I've had the chance to attend a lot of commencement exercises and to hear a lot of commencement speakers. Probably the most interesting one that I heard a number of years ago was at the University of Virginia. Dr. Francis Collins, who was then a rising scientist in the area of DNA. And I think I was not the only one who thought, uh-oh, boy, is this going to be dull, boring, and my eyes are going to glaze over. Well, it's interesting, though. Dr. Collins gave a very, very interesting talk right on point about science and ethics and what we were going to face dealing with all of the scientific learning that we have. And I thought it was it was very brief, but very much to the point. Now Dr. Collins is now the director of the National Institutes of Health. So I got to hear somebody who was really going to be on the cutting edge of that. But what really was interesting was he got to a certain point and he pulled out a ukulele and he sang to the graduates. And he got his message across singing to them. Now don't worry, I don't play the ukulele, so you're not going to hear that from me. But I thought that was a most interesting way to give comments. But not playing the ukulele, I pondered what words of wisdom I might share with you today. I remember my early school days. I grew up in a very small town, much smaller than Danville or Martinsville, more the size of Chatham. Now you have 20 in your graduating class. I had 43 in mine, and I thought it was really small. But there's a real advantage, as Allie showed. I mean, you know everybody in your class really well. Congratulations on those scholarships that I've heard about that all of you have gotten, and that is really, really wonderful. However, there was an inscription over the entrance to my elementary school that I have always remembered. It read, "We become like that which we constantly admire." Now, for a long time, I thought it really meant that we become like those persons whom we admire. So I tried to choose people that I wish to emulate. However, I soon realized that most of us, probably all of us, have certain faults, no matter how wonderful we may seem. So at some point I realized that the quote was grammatically correct. It meant that it was not a specific person we seek to become like. It is the qualities they live and exemplify that we can adopt if we constantly admire those qualities and seek to emulate them. Therefore, I believe it is what we admire, not whom we admire. We may see the traits of various qualities in various individuals. These qualities, however, may be positive or they may be negative. Selecting the right qualities to admire is a critical part of this process. If we admire qualities and seek to adopt them and develop them, they can become values. The dictionary defines values as a person's principles or standards or one's judgment of what is important in life. Again, these values can be positive or they can be negative. So as you leave Carlisle, I urge you to consider the positive qualities that you wish to develop into positive values for life. I wish to share with you the key terms for several qualities that have become values for me, and I've found them important during my life journey. Perhaps they will be ones that you might also find important. As you leave Carlisle, and perhaps leave home for the next stage of study and education, I offer these 7 key terms describing these qualities. First is embrace change. As much as you may think you have faced change, it is really just beginning for you. How will you deal with it? So I encourage you not to resist it, but to embrace it. Secondly, find balance. When you're away at college, you must find balance. The first year of college is usually the most difficult, and the need for balance is critical. Too much partying with a lack of studying is a recipe for academic disaster. However, there's a quote that says, "All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy, or Jill a dull girl." So rest, relaxation, and entertainment are helpful when balanced with the appropriate amount of schoolwork. If you can strike that right balance, things tend to work out well. I think that you will find that to be true later in life as well. Balance in your work with the other important things in your life, such as family, recreation, entertainment, will make your life more wholesome and satisfying. Next is listen with empathy. Great qualities for school, for work, for family and friends are listening and empathy. Listening is an important skill. It's one that most of us have a hard time really getting. Too many people don't listen. Instead, they're planning what they will say in response. Understanding what others say is a great trait. Connecting it with empathy makes it even more appreciated. Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of another. There's an old saying that you should walk a mile in my shoes before criticizing me. Next, I encourage you to consider keeping an open mind. When you go to new places such as college, you will find people who think differently from you. I encourage you to be open to ideas on all sides and to friends with differing views. Don't just choose those that are just like you and think like you. I'm not saying you have to change your views. You may or you may not. My views have changed during my various stages of my life, but even if you don't change, you will be stronger in your beliefs by listening and discussing issues and ideas, and you will learn from it. Next is learn for life. The need for learning does not change with the diploma you receive today. Learning is a lifelong process. Always be a learner, and I would say always be a reader. Next is seek satisfaction. My wife and I have 2 children. When they went to college, I encouraged them to study the subjects that interested them. I only asked that they take 2 classes, public speaking and basic accounting. You might have the opportunity to be like Allie and make a speech someday, but you're probably going to have to speak in a group, whether it's a small group you're working with or whatever. Both of our kids did this, and will tell you they're glad they did. Otherwise, the slate was open to them to choose the topics that gave them satisfaction and personal growth. I think that's a good test for your major in college and for career planning. Consider that which gives you the balance of personal satisfaction with career opportunities. Next is give back. You have all had many opportunities given to you. I encourage you to always look for ways that you can give back. It may be financial contributions to worthy and needy causes, but it may also be your involvement in activities which improve the communities in which, at various stages of life, you study, live, and work. Again, balance is important to that. These words all describe qualities which I have found to be helpful in college and in life. You may or may not find them to be helpful to you. I shared these qualities with our 2 children. Not like this in one speech, of course, but rather in bits and pieces, in words and discussions, and by example. I believe they found them to be helpful. Some time ago, there was a radio host named Paul Harvey. Paul Harvey always had a segment on his show called The Rest of the Story. Here is the rest of the story regarding my daughter Elizabeth and my son Hayward, at least until now. After college, a year of law school, and a master's of teaching in classics, Elizabeth returned to Danville and taught Latin at George Washington High School for 20 years. She now works with her husband, Will Leggett, in the Danville department store, Leggett Town and Country, which I say is an upscale Tractor Supply. After college and law school, Hayward went to New York City, practiced mergers and acquisitions law. He got an MBA and decided he'd had enough of law, so he became an entrepreneur. He now lives in Charlottesville, loves working on his back porch. He's co-founded University Bridge, which helps international students come to the U.S. and become successful at one of 5 community colleges and then at one of the top universities in Virginia and California. But I've seen the traits and qualities that I talked about become values in Elizabeth and Hayward. Both have had dual careers, but the values have been there throughout. And I'm so proud of them for that. Now, there may be other traits, qualities, and values that fit you better. You may find them exhibited by others. I recommend that you think about traits and qualities which you believe will make you a better person, happier, and more satisfied with your life. If you constantly admire them and work to develop them in your daily life, then they will become your values. I congratulate you on your graduation today. I encourage you when you leave today, give a hug to those who have helped you get to this point. I challenge you to choose wisely those qualities to admire, to adopt them, and to make them values for your life. I wish you much success as you begin this next phase of your life. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Majors, and please accept this Jefferson Cup as a small token of our lasting appreciation for your inspiring message today. You're so welcome. The Carlisle Distinguished Alumni Award recognizes a Carlisle School graduate who has excelled in one or more of the following ways: has contributed unselfishly to the local community or Carlisle community through volunteering, has achieved excellence in the workplace, or has exhibited positive leadership in the community and or workplace. Under Candace Owens Williams, drama at Carlisle really flourished. One of her students' passion for drama led him to the theater school at DePaul University and the David Geffen School of Drama at Yale University. He has distinguished himself in the field and this year received 12 nominations at the 74th Tony Awards for his play entitled Slave Play. The 2022 Distinguished Alumni Award goes to Jeremy O. Harris, class of 2007. We now present the Trustee Awards, the gift of a Jefferson Cup to each graduate who has attended Carlisle since the first grade. These gifts are presented to the graduates by the Board of Trustees. Please come up and receive your cup when your name is called. Rachel Atkins. Jacob Bailey. Anika Banerjee. Jacob Gonzalez. Spencer Hodges. Chandler Norman. Cale Richardson. And Jameson Smith. Now, our Board of Trustees, President Jennifer Thomas, assisted by Beth Gammons, the upper school director, will prepare to present the diplomas. When I call your name, please come forward and receive your diploma. Rachel Elena Atkins. Jacob Allen Bailey. Anika Noel Banerjee. Jameer Lamont Coles. Zachary Alex Craddock. Zoe Alexis Craddock. Colby Lee Cunningham. Colin Edward Cunningham. Jaden Kalik Davis. Jacob Franklin Gonzalez. Mackenzie Nicole Hooser. Spencer Franklin Hodges. Chandler Bryson Norman. Connor Daniel Plaster. Keister Logan Richardson IV. Casey Lee Richardson. Jameson Cooper Smith. Zachary Cole Souther. Kevin Stewart Jr. Naomi Tekel Shehe. Congratulations to all. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the class of 2022. Please remain seated for the recessional.